Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us to what we believe is a historic collaboration between Jordan Source at the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship and London Tech Week. Today, we're going to be going through some of the points that have been fueling the quiet yet powerful rise of Jordan as a hub for the ICT sector in the region, and how we believe collaboration between the UK and Jordan can fuel further innovation, creativity, and business success, not just across the Middle East, but across the world. First of all, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dana Darwish. I'm Jordan Source Program Manager, and I'm going to be your host for this webinar. We have a phenomenal lineup of speakers and some great stories that we're really excited to share with you. And of course, we are looking forward to hearing some of your questions. Whenever something pops into your mind, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I will be channeling the questions to the speakers. So this is a little bit of an overview of today's agenda. We're going to be starting it off with where it all began. And to encapsulate the essence and vision of Jordan Source, we'll play a quick video.
Jordan's ICT sector proved to be exceptionally resilient. Jordan's quality talent delivers a well-educated, bilingual, tech-savvy, and price-competitive workforce. We are making long-term commitments to invest in this booming sector and to empower companies who engage Jordanian ITOs and BPOs. Join us as we take this leap into a bright, promising future.
So I know for most of you, or for a lot of the partners that we've engaged with internationally, not a lot is known about the Jordanian ICT sector, and hopefully today we'll be sharing some stories that will begin to shape the narrative and the information that you have on how this young, mighty, youth-driven, impact-driven nation is really making an impact across the world. And of course, we have to mention and thank our partners, the Jordanian Embassy in the UK and the UK Embassy in Jordan, for always facilitating these cross-border collaborations and to get both nations to really come together under the basis of innovation, creativity, and business growth. So Jordan is really special when it comes to the ingredients that came together to build this fabric that creates all of this impact that's happening, not just across the region, but across the world, that's driven out of Jordan. So, for example, Jordan is quite a youthful country. Around 50% of the population is under the age of 30. And on a yearly basis, we have around 7,000 graduates in ICT or ICT-related topics. If you add on to that STEM students that can be reskilled and to being true assets when it comes to ICT potential, you have such a robust talent pool that can not only serve the region, but also can serve on an international scale and build solutions that make an impact. We also have a big focus on this sector because we believe that the biggest and most prized possession that Jordan has to offer is its talent, especially when it comes to technology. And that's why it comes with a myriad of different kinds of tax incentives. That's 0% custom duties while setting up your offices, no sales tax on ICT companies. We're talking about no import tax, no export tax for services exported out of Jordan. When you think about where Jordan is located, it's really special in terms of how it's connected to the world in a time zone. kind of like mental framing. So whether you're planning to serve the Middle East, we're 1 hour time difference from Dubai, whether you're based in London, it's a 2 hour difference. And even between the US, whether you're in the West Coast or East Coast, it really either offers you a 24/7 operating hub or is within logical working hours based off of what you and your company need. But what I think makes Jordan really special is the fact that you see so many phenomenal stories in technology that started out of Jordan and have left a global impact. So, for example, when you think about the first mobile gaming studio in the Middle East back in 2003, and if you think about 2003, you had your phone that came with Snake pre-downloaded in it. And that was pretty much it. So the world wasn't really thinking in terms of how can we create these casual games where you play on your phone. And Jordan was opening its doors for the first mobile gaming studio in the Middle East. We have a short video from them later on, so I'm excited to share that. We were the home of the first Arabic email platform that was later acquired by Yahoo. And you have so many of these stories that really highlight that although it is a young, small nation, the impact it can leave is actually much larger. One of the points on the screen actually belongs to one of our next speakers. So I'm going to let him be talking about that. So without further ado, when we talk about the largest humanitarian blockchain solution and a topic that is really close to our hearts, because we always view technology as kind of like a place for creativity and innovation. But what Mr. Imad has done is he's really found this intersection between humanity and technology, and we've seen it impact hundreds of thousands and hundreds of thousands of those that need it the most. So allow me to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Imad Malhas, CEO of IrisGuard. And before I hand over to him, IrisGuard is actually such a phenomenal example of a company that is a UK-Jordanian collaboration. So, Mr. Imad, the floor is yours.
Hi, Dana. Good morning. Thank you for inviting us for this. This is really, really exciting for me and for IrisGuard. In today's section that I'm going to be talking at, I'd like to tell you the story of IrisGuard, and then a little bit about our specific Jordanian British collaboration for the company, and then some of the lessons that we have learned. But let me start first by telling you what we do for those who don't necessarily know what we do. So IrisGuard is a company that specializes in iris recognition technology, which allows you to find a person from the patterns of their eyes. We'll be talking about that. So we've been doing this since 2005 when we set up our company and started in the UK, and we have a very strong office in Jordan handling the MENA region. And I'll link to that in a minute. But what's interesting is for the audience is to give you just a little bit, a very short brief of what iris recognition is. So the iris is the colored part of your eye, and it's an involuntary muscle. So its purpose in life is to open and close, to control the amount of light that is basically going into your eye and onto your retina. Now, since ages, people were using fingerprints, but by 1994, there were scientists who were looking at the patterns of the muscle of the iris. And they saw a unique pattern, and that's when we started getting involved in this. And we worked with Cambridge professors in the UK to prove that a single iris has more data than 10 fingerprints, and that us humans have two different irises that are unrelated. So the iris is the muscle. It's behind the cornea. It doesn't wear or tear. It's protected. It's stable from 3 years or 2 years of life, year 2 until the end of life. And it is very simply, you can think about it as having an ID in your eye. And you need nothing except the iris to be able to identify a person from millions of people. So, Dana, you mentioned hundreds of thousands. Really, with the case of the humanitarian involvement that we have, which I will be talking about, there are millions and millions of refugees that have benefited from this technology to protect their entitlement, and I will be explaining that and sharing some videos and pictures of that. So IrisGuard is a technology company, a solution provider. So we have lots of stuff that we do, and including making our own hardware, our own software. And in 2012, there was the Syrian crisis, and many people left their country. I think the estimate is that 7 million people left to 6 different countries. So the United Nations was overwhelmed in the neighboring countries to Syria, how to handle people who basically fled with the shirt on their back. Many of them even didn't have any identification documents and what have you. So when you are faced with a situation like this, where you have a large number of people, and you need to know who, not necessarily know what their identity is, but to be able to know that they are refugee number one, refugee number two. This is not about privacy and knowing someone's name or information. This is about providing services, medical care, providing cash assistance, food subsidies, housing, rent. If you want to give refugees, for example, hygiene kits, tents, all of that stuff is very prone to a lot of fraud. And the weaker link in this, and we didn't know that, by the way, when we started, is the refugee themselves. So they have nobody to protect them. And sadly, in many cases around the world, their rights are not necessarily received by them due to fraud and human greed and what have you. However, when we started in 2012, we actually worked with UNHCR, the United Nations Refugee Agency, and the World Food Programme, which are the two largest UN agencies, as well as, of course, UNICEF for the children, to provide this technology to the masses. So the masses of these refugees were in Jordan, they were in Lebanon, they were in Iraq, and they were in Egypt. So you're talking about 4 million refugees who fled into those countries, and then you had agencies who wanted to normalize the relationship. It started in 2012, and they're still out there. They're starting to return now. So you're talking about 13 years. The average life of a refugee in a camp is 17 years. So you're talking about people who get born and grow up and go to schools in the camps and in exile where they are, and there are no documents for them. So what I want to do is share with you, because a picture is worth a 1,000 words. The best thing to do is to share with you some of the use cases that we have. So let me just start quickly and share some pictures, and I'll explain as we go along. So this is a refugee. Remember, COVID also passed during the Syrian crisis. So this is a refugee at an ATM. We have retrofitted our camera device on the ATM machine, and the refugee looks in the iris camera. He doesn't have a card or a PIN or anything else, and the system would give him their money. Pinpoint accuracy. If he is not there, he will not be paid, and nobody can pick up his money other than the head of family in that. This is a refugee female, again, another shot. And you can see she is, of course, culturally veiled, but she's also masked, and she's wearing the gloves because of this was during COVID. She received her money. Up to, we're handling about $1.3 billion of services and cash every year for the population of refugees in 5 countries using this technology. This I love. This picture is of the ATMs that have the iris cameras, and you can see them over here. This is a wonderful Jordanian soldier who is standing guard during COVID to make sure that things are in order. He is gently helping, and with his high morals, he's helping these ladies to position themselves during COVID. Again, look at the distance, 6 feet apart. So this was during COVID. So these devices are all over Jordan, all over Iraq, all over Lebanon and Egypt, serving these refugees and delivering cash with pinpoint accuracies for the last 12 years. This is a really nice solution that we developed with one of the banks. It's called Cash on Wheels. So, you send, if they can't go to the bank comes to them. So this is a van from the bank. And this van has an ATM on it, and you can see that the ATM has an iris camera. So they walk, they queue up, and then they walk up to the van, they look into the camera, and their cash is delivered to them. And this is, remember, during COVID, there was lockdown. People couldn't go anywhere. So this was a really neat solution that we have. I'll jump now to non-food items. So this is the Norwegian Refugee Council providing this lady or this refugee lady with her entitlement. Probably it's either a blankets or a hygiene kit, or it's not tents in this case, but a lot of the non-food items, again, using their eyes. And what I want to draw here is that this gentleman here from Norwegian Refugee Council doesn't know this lady, and by scanning her eyes, he still doesn't know who she is. The system tells him this lady is entitled to one hygiene kit, and he delivers that. There is high privacy and protection for refugees, and the iris does not reveal any information. It reveals to this gentleman here and these operators here the fact that this is a legitimate person entitled for something given by the generous donors. UK Aid was one of the larger donors, US Aid prior, of course, to the new one, but the US government, the EU, all of them were very, very genuinely involved and still are in providing aid. And such systems provide donors with the accountability that they need. The amount of fraud between pledging the money and the money being received by the last point, which is the refugee, sometimes goes down to 50%, and we've seen less even, due to issues related to delivery. With this one, this is really pinpoint accuracy, and this is the first time that this has been done in the world. So again, I'll zap through these pictures for you. This is the Norwegian Council. Now I go to another part. This is one of the most striking pictures that I have made. It lives in my mind. So let me explain what the setting is here. So this is a supermarket, and you can see in the back that it's a massive supermarket. I think this one is either by Safeway or one of the other supermarkets set up. So this is a refugee lady, and in front of her is her goods. So the World Food Program, this is the blockchain program that Dana was referring to. So this lady has a blockchain wallet that was set up by the World Food Program. However, obviously, she can't hold a private key of 32 bytes. We all understand that. So what we did is made her eyes, if I may, the private key access. So she is going in the supermarket, and she's buying some oil, some bread, and you can see it right there in front of you. She's carrying her child. I mean, she can't leave her child behind in the camp. She's carrying her child. She's not carrying a card, a credit card or debit card or cash. And she's looking into our camera, and you can see at the bottom here, her eye is on the screen. This processes the entire transaction to pay for this from the blockchain. It's a very sophisticated system, yet so easy to use, and provides so much protection for the refugee and accountability for the donors. This is the first time this has been done in the world. I'm going to flip through different pictures of the same kind of deployment. This is in 16 different supermarkets. So this is doing about $4 million of purchases every month. And this has been going on since 2016. This is a guy buying bread from the supermarket. Right? I mean, it's as simple as you see it. This is another guy, and look at COVID, and 6 feet apart, the gloves, everybody was wearing that, and people were still being able to go and pay for their stuff. I now jump to another beautiful use case that we had and this is in Kurdistan in northern Iraq. And this is Zain Cash in Kurdistan with UNHCR and Iris Guide. The refugees couldn't go to Zain Cash outlets to collect their cash. So we have our phone, and I'll be showing the phone hopefully in a later, if there's a question and answers, I can show the phone and the devices. But this guy is carrying the phone, he's scanning the eyes of the refugee at home. This is called cash delivery or cash at home. So he goes, he scans his eyes and prints a receipt and gives them his cash. So this is very interesting. As you can see here, this operator of Zain Cash is scanning the eyes of this lady, which is a refugee lady, where she dwells, where she lives, or she stays, and he's carrying a bag of cash. Okay, so this is really very, very, very solid. We won the Global Awards in GSMA for this one. It's a very innovative solution. We're very proud to do that. So you can see here, this is where they are, and they're going door to door and providing them with the cash. So in this case, you can see over here, and he's scanning something, something's happening here. I'm going to zoom in for you to take a look at this. So he's scanning the refugee's eyes, it prints a receipt, and he hands her the cash. So this is one very beautiful project that we're involved in, still running. Of course, COVID went away, and so now they are able to go and visit the Zain Cash outlets and collect using our mobile phone technology. Man, look at this one. This old lady, she's sitting outside her door, and the guy is kneeling, he's scanning her eyes very gently. And if you zoom in, you can see the printer in his hands is scanning her eyes. It prints the receipt, and he hands her over her cash while she's seated outside in her makeshift garden, if I may. There's a lot of humane and dignified way in what we design these systems to be. This older lady also, it's in her house. This is the bag of cash, and you can see he just handed her the cash. He scanned her eyes and he gave her a receipt. So the receipt is where it tells exactly what amount. So there is no way for this gentleman to have an ill-intended purpose, and instead of providing the full amount, for example, to provide lesser of the full amount. So, and this is again some of those. This is the World Food Program using our technology. This is the phone I was alluding to. This is what they have, a phone and a wireless printer. This is provided from IrisCard, and here is the receipt. And this can work in any location. It doesn't require any connectivity. We have a SIM card in the device. So we design things that work in real life. So I'm going to stop here and stop sharing and jump into some other subjects. But the real interesting bit that I have is that we did this for the protection of the refugee, and was really paid back a lot in how everybody in the UK and Jordan, all our team members, felt so proud. Look, we've had experiences with national security. We've done our share with border control, anti-terrorism. We've done all of that. Nothing, I tell you, nothing matches the feeling that we have developed for the last 14 years in helping helpless people, empowering them, protecting them with their own eyes. Now, if I may, I would like to just shift gears here and talk a little bit about Jordan, the UK, and why are we doing this, right? So for our audience in the UK and in the West, the Arab world is 400 million people. Yeah, and everybody hears about the Gulf, but that's not reality. So Jordan, as Dana eloquently showed the position, we're in an area called Levant. If you add Levant together, that's 182 million customers. So you got Egypt, you got Jordan, the Palestinian National Authority, you got Lebanon, you got Iraq, and now recently, of course, Syria is back open for business. That's 182 million people. Yes, of course, there is the Gulf, there is North Africa, but those are not our forte as Jordan. Our forte is that area. If you look at that area, you're going to see people who are not rich with natural resources, but you're going to see sophistication. You're going to see culture. You're going to see, take Jordan. I mean, we have artifacts for people who were living in Jordan 10,000 years ago. We got the Nabateans 3,000 years. You know Petra, of course. Everybody knows Petra. It's beautiful. So Petra is 3,000 years old, and then you got all of that, right? So I see synergies, and I did see that in 2005, and that's why when I set up everything in the UK in 2005, IrisCard UK Limited was established in 2005, and we have 12 people in the UK and about 20 in Jordan. Since 2005, these teams of these people, they're working together with high synergy. They all adapt to a simple principle. It's the UK principle, really. Let's get on with it, right? No whining. So this is what we learned. The Jordanian, Anglo-Jordanian relationship goes back 100 years. Just so people may not know this, but it goes back 100 years. The peoples of the two countries have worked together very closely over a full century. We think alike, our minds alike, and we work with little. So there are different approaches to life. The American way is you throw money at something and it works. Yeah, with the British and with the Jordanian, the pen and a paper, and we can achieve quite a lot. So for our friends in the UK and our colleague companies and companies in the UK, if you want to do business in the Middle East, in Levant, and watch what I'm saying, Levant, and of course the Gulf for sure, but Levant, there is a 182 million customers that can be served. Jordan is the place to be, and there are many reasons why. Among them is the ultimate synergies. I'm involved in the establishment of the Jordan British Business Council, which has just been set up. Imagine a century and we didn't need a business council. Now we thought, okay, it's time to get a business council. Lord McNichol is, I'd say, vice chairman. None of that has been announced yet, but it's very closely coordinated from the UK side and the Jordan side, from the private sector. So if you are a company wanting to do business, please contact of course, the Jordan British Business Council, and we will guide you on what to do, what not to do, and all these things. So what I wanted to wrap up with is, what did we learn and in these many years? What struck me or struck us as a company in doing that? So the refugee journey started in 2012. And so we walked with the refugee. We grew up with the refugee. Refugees gave birth to children, and we were there. And we registered their children when they were of age to protect them from child trafficking. People don't think a lot about that. But if you have 3,000 children in a camp with no parents, right, you're going to have a massive responsibility registering them. And it means that they're not going to be lost or traded, God forbid. So we grew up with them. We work with them. We ensure that they get their cash. We ensure that they get their food. We ensure that they get their children registered. And now the cycle is closing, and that has had a tremendous impact on all of us. We're going back with them to Syria. Syrian refugees now, after the recent changes in Syria, are going back to Syria to build their home. The United Nations agencies will provide cash for those who return. Why? So they can build whatever they lost. I mean, their homes are lost, their lives are lost. So there's a small amount of cash that they want to deliver. How do you know that this is a refugee who is returning? So we're going back with them and closing the cycle. The protection that we provide has continued from inception of this crisis all the way now, hopefully for the total closure of this crisis and the return of everybody to Syria. That has had a massive impact on us. It's these kinds of experiences that I urge our friends and colleagues and companies in the UK to come and experience. Jordan is a living, breathing country that is very hospitable. It has people who understand exactly the ways of the world, who are very close-minded to the British people. And together we have done what I showed you. We've done that with British and Jordanian engineers, software developers, project managers, finance people, investment advisors, and more. Please do consider Jordan, and please take my invitation to contact the Jordan British Business Council if we can be of any help for you. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad. I think that's so insightful, and it's so exciting to learn how there's this constant growth in the collaboration, and now it's being also cemented with with your new initiatives, and I'm happy that we got to hear about them first. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for your time. Awesome. So we have quite a bit to talk about today, and I'm really grateful that we get to spend a good chunk of your afternoon together. So when we talk about Jordan, we talk about the availability of talent, and we also talk about a pioneering mindset. So with that, especially when you're thinking about two of the largest acquisitions of gaming that have happened in the Middle East, and you find out that both of them were uncoincidentally Jordanian companies, you realize that there's some sort of fertile soil that helps bring this collaboration from small garage-like ideas into a global scale. With that, allow me to play a quick video from the founder of Maiselwood, the first mobile gaming studio in the Middle East, to give you a little bit of historic but also technological background.
Hi everyone, I'm Noor Khreis. Let me take you on a journey that started with a dream and a joystick. In 2003, I founded Maiselwood, a mobile game studio with one bold vision: to build mobile games that blend innovation and culture. Today, we are no longer building games. We're crafting world, from Petra, augmented reality, to AI-driven games. We are merging latest technologies that resonate with players, not only here in the region, but also worldwide. You know, the name Maiselwood holds our DNA. Mais means the pride, the kind that swells when you hear your grandmother's stories. And Wad means the lion, the courage, the strength. Together, they are a good reminder for us that our games are not just for entertainment. They are a bridge, a way to carry our Arabic storytelling, humor, proverbs, and heroes to screens worldwide. It's not by accident Jordan is becoming a gaming hotspot. It all started by the big trust from the leadership in its people, creativity, and heritage. Today, we have skilled coders, visionary artists, and policy is being crafted from the new modernization vision 2033. And let's not forget the Jordan source that connects startup with global investors worldwide. Today, the country is telling you, build something epic, and we've got your back. And this is where the magic happens. Since 2011, we partnered with the King Abdullah II Fund for Development to run the Jordan Gaming Lab. We managed to change the cliched image of gaming linked to children glued to their console, now to build them. We teach coding, game design, storytelling, and tools that help them to convert their passion into paychecks. Universities in Jordan now offer game design degree, elbow deep in classroom, tweaking curricula, hackathons, and offering internship for students. And why internship? Because talent without an opportunity is like a hidden gem. We want our graduate to sprint out of the gate directly to be hired by studio. It's not about the jobs, it's about building the legacy. Here's the thing, games are more than pixels. They are time capsules. We see each line of code as a love letter to our culture, a way to preserve our story for our grandkids. At Jordan, with brilliant youth, motivated, growing ecosystem that is cheering risk takers, we are not part of the growing MENA ecosystem of games, we are leading it. Now, who's ready to play?
Even watching that video a few times, it still leaves me quite excited. And when you think about the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Jordan, even though Jordan only accounts for 3% of the MENA population, you are going to notice an astounding percentage of Jordanian founders when you look at the top startups in the Middle East. And one of the founders or co-founders that are very close to our hearts because of the naturally international nature of the platform that they're building has to be Game HD. Before I hand the floor over, I think that when we think about gaming, it's kind of like music. It's what people used to say about music back in the day, how it's kind of an international language and it connects people across borders. You know, you can just meet someone 5 minutes ago and you automatically have the sense of connection with them if you play the same games. But where do you find these like-minded people? Where do you find these competitions if you're just getting into it? The answer was actually coming out of Jordan at the hands of some really talented founders. So allow me to introduce our next speaker. We have Abdelrahim Hilal, co-founder of Game HD. Abdelrahim, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dana, for the kind words, and also thank you for having us here. It's really exciting for me personally, and also for the team. They're very excited about this and talking about the platform, especially everything they worked for and what they built today. Since Gamergy, it only started this journey around a year and a half ago, and we built something so big, and we can't imagine, we didn't even imagine that we're going to reach this far, honestly, at the start. But let me tell you more about what is Gamergy and what do we do exactly. So we're an online esports platform, but not for the pro players. So we basically target casual players in micro tournaments that they can play in every hour, every day, whenever they want, and on a global scale. So we don't have the limitation between the countries. Everyone can join in the tournaments, and they can play for cash prizes. You might ask us, how did this idea start? We've taken a look at many of the bigger games on the planet, like League of Legends, Valorant, and Dota, which has more than 400 million players monthly. And we actually started with an idea that for coaching, a coaching website for gamers, and how can pro players help out younger players who want to take up this career to their own, and better their gameplay, and find better strategies in order to build up their reputation and to hopefully go into pro play. But we thought about it, there are no pro play tournaments in the Middle East mainly, or if you need to join them, it's a very hard thing to do. And that is why we created something for everyone and not for the select few between in every game. And that's how the platform was born. So what they do basically is that they can join daily tournaments on an hourly basis, and they can win cash prizes, or they can win our own GG tokens, which they can exchange for gift cards for many options, including Steam or anything else. And everything is tracked on a live scoreboard, so they can actually there see their performance, how is it scored between each of the players, and that creates a sense of community between the players. So many might ask, why did we start in Jordan? As we can see, these are the numbers. We can see in the Middle East and Africa, we have more than 500 million gamers around this region. And in Jordan, as Dana mentioned before, that we have a very young population, and most of them are gamers, and we can see the interest in gaming has increased exponentially, and even the mindset of the people and the younger generations have taken gaming in a more serious way. Especially, we can see it in the private gaming cafes now. It has evolved much more than before. Now they're going in a very professional way. They're creating a professional esports team in order to compete on a global scale. As we have seen also in Saudi Arabia, the gaming scene is also growing, but in Jordan it is growing on a very fast pace. Not to mention that we had one of the best world players in Dota 2 who won the international in 2017, and he was the first Jordanian player in Dota to reach 9,000 MMR in Dota. So that's was quite an achievement for the gaming scene in Jordan. It kind of reminds me of the South Korea, where esports actually started. The gaming cafes led this change, and also the government is also helping a lot in that. They have established the ARC. It's a gaming arena that they can host pro play tournaments on a world level, on a global scale. And they already have created many tournaments around, since the past year. And 2 more arenas are being built, one in north of Jordan and the other is in the city of Aqaba, where there will be held many global scale tournaments around the globe. Of course, beyond esports, they have provided many places for young developers and esports players in order to develop their games, or they want to learn new stuff, new technical skills. So they have created these offices for teams. They can go and work there and help out. They can create a community in order to furthermore increase their technical expertise in gaming as well. And of course, I can't thank them enough. They helped us so much through their BDE program, where they gave us a lot of funding to cover many essential startup services that we actually needed at the start. And also, like, they helped us with after winning the Visa Everywhere, Levant, and Semilla, we had the opportunity to represent Jordan and our startup at TechCrunch 2024 in the US and the World Economic Forum. And it was, so they helped us a lot with getting the visas and also getting recognized on a global scale. And that's why, like, we would love to thank them so much about these opportunities. I would say that many people would ask us, like, gaming is a global thing. Why did you start in Jordan? It's a very simple question. It has many simple answers to it, honestly. Jordan has a very strategic access to the region. Not only, like, the gaming scene in Jordan is growing really fast, and it's the best place to start out a gaming startup as far as we know. And also, it's a very strategic access to the region, GCC area, Africa, and beyond that. Also, the tax incentives by the government is very attractive. We already have, at the start, we incorporated our company in another European country. And honestly, the tax incentives in Jordan was much beneficial for us. And also, like, let's not forget the government support by the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship and the Ministry of Investments. They support tech startups and gaming startups at the moment in a huge way. So I would advise everyone, like, if you have a tech startup, this is the place you would want to go to. And for as I mentioned before, like, Jordan is has a very thriving gaming economy and the community as well. And that is why, like, it was to our advantage to start here and spread out from here on a global scale. And we're on the way to it.
Aboud, we have a few questions, a few from the audience, but one from me. So I know from your background that, wait, were you done with your slides before I cut you off? So first of all, thank you for all of the marketing plugs. I wouldn't have been able to do that on behalf of the ministry, but I know that you're an engineer by education, correct?
Yes.
And Jordan has the highest percentage of engineers per capita in the world. Usually, when we have these conversations with our partners around the world, the link between engineering and gaming feels like it's very far away, but in Jordan, we feel like it's so natural. So tell us a little bit about that.
So my background is an architecture engineer, and part of the engineering, like, let's say, mindset is like, you have a problem, how do you solve it? And in gaming, it's mostly like, and also as a gamer, I would say, like, you have an issue, how do you beat that person? You have an issue with that, how do you win over that team or over that person when you play? So it's kind of similar mindset. Also, like, we've seen like we've seen like a huge issue in casual players. They don't have any place to compete in, and that is why, like, when we came up with the Emergy, it was just a bunch of problems that the casual players has. How do we solve them? And I think that's why my background helped us. Also, in engineering, that's the basic methodology that we work with.
Awesome. So one of the questions is a lot around landing collaborations with global players like Dota and Fortnite. And it feels like when you think about the startup or entrepreneurship ecosystem in Jordan, and then you think about these games that are uniting millions of players around the world, how is it that these kinds of collaborations came together?
So I would say, like, the first games that we collaborated with were League of Legends and Valorant. So Riot Games mainly. So Riot Games really pushes for esports in a really, they support this initiatives, and that's why like we applied for them and we told them like we want to do this platform, and we explained to them how everything works, and that's how the collaboration started. And not to mention that I was one of the beginning players to start on their beta testing, and that's why like I had an OG account, you might say, and that's why like it was a bit easier for me to get in contact with them and everything. Regarding other games, like we've seen Dota 2 and Fortnite and Brawl Stars, these games also has a esports aspect, like skill games, and that's why like they always support these kind of initiatives, especially for casual players and not only pro play.
Awesome. Last question, and I'll be really quick. Do you have any players on your platform from the EU or from the UK specifically? Do you have that kind of data?
So at the moment, most of our player base is from Jordan, but of course, gaming is a global thing, and people talk a lot to each other. And we find ourselves, we have a small portion of players from the EU. Also the UK, I think we have some players from the UK as well as Romania, I think. And we recently like acquired one of the top players from a competitor, and he started playing on our platform. He switched, let's say.
I have no idea. If you tell me who he is, I wouldn't know. But that sounds like fantastic news. Thank you so much, Abdul Rahim, and thank you for everything that you and Gamewachi do. So it's really exciting to see how, when we think about the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Jordan, you really see a lot of homegrown concepts, but you also see a lot of massive industry players, where if I were to ask you on a casual day like today, if you would have imagined that these international companies or this kind of global recognition is happening to Jordan and Jordanian talent, I would bet you 9 times out of 10, you wouldn't guess the magnitude, the size, or the connection. So on the slide, you can see just some of the names of the companies that we consider to be international players that are running out of Jordan or have offices in Jordan. And we're not talking about 1 or 2 people. We're talking about truly tapping into Jordanian resources and talent and building solutions across regions. With that, one of our partners, and I think this really showcases how international the playing field in Jordan is. So for example, on here, you'll see a lot of US companies. Of course, we have some UK companies, and our next speaker is going to be talking about that more. But who would have thought that a company from Singapore would be choosing Jordan as one of its Middle Eastern homes? So allow me to play a video by our partners at Bigo Technology and showcasing a little bit of history again with how nations can come together to create solutions across borders.
Hi, I'm Ian Goh, Director at Bigo Technology here in Jordan. Welcome to Qais, which was once known as the city of Jadara, where Roman poets walked and empires crossed paths. Today, Jordan's story is a symbol on how far stories can travel creatively and proudly in a connected world. At Bigo, we're a Singaporean tech company building AI-powered real-time communication platforms. Our mission? To connect the world, to build inclusive, meaningful spaces where people can connect, express themselves, and find their communities. With our platforms Bigo Live, Likey, and IMO, we connect over 500 million users across 150 countries. It's about our globalization, bringing our global vision with a local heart. Human first, technology later. We focus on building tech that serves people's needs. When we first started in the Middle East, we didn't start in Jordan, but we saw something special here. Today, over 1,000 Jordanians in Amman and Irbid drive everything from content moderation to AI. They are bilingual, bold, and future-ready. They're not waiting for the future, they are building it. At Bigo, we believe in building bridges, not borders. That's why we launched the Singapore Jordan Incubation Program to help startups grow and collaborate across cultures. We didn't do this alone. Backed by the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship, the Jordan Source program opened doors, giving us access to world-class talents, smart policy, and a thriving digital network. Jordan's unique blend of technical skill and cultural depth inspire us every day. At Bigo, we're proud to be part of that journey and excited for what Jordan streams next. Because when you connect people, you change the world. Shukran.
That was a word from our partners at Vigo. And when we think about having this truly international footprint, I think the idea of an international footprint encapsulated in a speaker would be Mr. Maher Al-Khayyat. His background is truly what international means, from EY, Microsoft, and just having kind of like this open channel with the entire world and such a good and like a strong grasp on international best practice. And now building the same caliber of international best practice in his new venture. So I'm really excited to also learn how this experience is feeding into the future. So without further ado, allow me to introduce Maher Khayyat.
Thank you so much, Dana, for this great introduction, and greetings from Amman to everyone. Thank you for joining us on this amazing webinar today. As Dana mentioned, I want to anchor my experience and my own personal journey. So just to repeat what Dana said, my name is Maher Khayyat. I'm a seasoned growth executive and board member with over 2 decades of leadership experience spanning business development, government partnerships, fintech, AI innovation, all across the Middle East and Africa. When I started my career, I started it in the US. It has taken me from the research labs in the US to land global leadership roles at Microsoft, EY, and most recently, founding my own Ogantis AI, a company which is at the frontier of autonomous AI workforces. So in my session today, it marks a really significant moment. For the first time, I think Jordan Source is collaborating with the London Tech Week. This is a platform that reflects both the ambitions and the alignment. And I'm here to talk about something I care deeply about, which is why global recognition of Jordanian talent is accelerating and why the UK tech leaders should be looking towards Jordan for their next competitive advantage. So this is just my journey and how it began and how it is touching on many of these multinationals and experiences. So I began, as I mentioned earlier, in the US, working on machine intelligence advanced systems, working for government and enterprise. But it was when I returned back to the Middle East and specifically Jordan and joined Microsoft that I saw something really remarkable that is unfolding in Jordan, honestly. My journey within Microsoft is we grew our team from 26 people to over 450, not just as back office information workers, but as a true center of excellence, serving Europe, Middle East, and Africa in areas diverse from AI, cybersecurity, cloud computing, multilingual customer success. We did this by investing in what Jordan does best, honestly, which is we invested in what the core asset of Jordan is: resilient, skilled, and very globally aware talent. And that experience honestly shaped one of my core convictions, which is if we have the right platform and partnerships, Jordanian talents can deliver global impact at scale. And I truly believe in that statement. Why is that? So if I look at the growing list of reasons that Dana mentioned and all of the prior speakers have talked about with passion and conviction, okay, there is a growing list of why international firms, including many of you in the UK, are taking a closer look at Jordan. Let me break it down into these 5 components. One, I believe talent density and agility. I think Jordan's workforce is digitally native, solution-driven, and really culturally versatile. Whether you're rolling out enterprise-scale platforms or testing new AI prototypes, in my case, they adapt fast and perform really even faster. Second is they're multilingual and market savvy. So if we look at English-Arabic fluency, this is baseline. But as my example with Microsoft, we have people speaking 12 different languages. So basically reaching out a much broader audience globally. Okay, but what makes Jordan unique is this cultural fluency that I think Imad touched on. This is a market that we understand Western business context and also Eastern market dynamics, which makes it invaluable for cross-border execution. If I look at affordability and quality, I mean, we're not talking, about cost competitive as being the norm here, but it is cost competitive. But it's also make no mistake, it does not compromise on other things. It does not. Retention rate, productivity, quality of delivery consistently exceed global benchmark. And that's going to become apparent when I talk about some of the cases that I personally was involved in. The fourth one is about ecosystem maturity and government partnerships. I think this is one of the core ingredients to why doing business in Jordan is really important, specifically Jordan Source and the Ministry of Digital Economy Entrepreneurship. In my case, through our work at Microsoft, we signed what we call a milestone MOU, in fact, with the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship to support startups. We launched skilling initiatives and integrated cloud and AI tools into entrepreneurship programs. This public-private partnerships or collaboration is real and it works. And that's a core ingredient. And last but not least, the strategic positioning. And I think, most of us are passionate about this. So we're not just centrally located, it is strategically relevant. We are strategically relevant in Jordan. In my case, from Amman, the capital of any other cities, we're serving Gulf, Levant, Africa, and even Europe in multiple sectors, including tech, finance, and beyond. Let me ground what I just talked about in few real stories, if you allow me. First one is the Microsoft Jordan story. So over the past years, we built one of the most capable hubs in the region. We're offering services in more than 12 languages, scaling global cloud adoption, driving digital transformation across the sectors. Today, this hub plays a critical role in Microsoft's regional operations, but it's also important to mention that our female representation is more than 37% of this workforce. A second example, which is probably also relevant to the UK because it builds on a corridor that EY has built with the global firm in the UK to build this future of finance, where they're training fresh graduates and deploying AI consultants who are really shaping projects across the borders. And this is not low-touch work. It is high-value consulting in AI and automation. Another example, which is related to, I would say, Moody youth technology jobs and the overall ecosystem that was built throughout these programs. I want to talk a bit about DigiSkills, which is the Digital Skilling Association in Jordan, which is really one of the main suppliers of that talent. Okay, and it's a powerful example of this public-private partnerships that creates real impact. I really have seen it firsthand as being on the board of DigiSkills. So we're looking at how collaboration between government and private sector can close up the gap between education and employment. This is a Mundi-backed initiative. So DigiSkills is currently delivering market-driven trainings in high-demand sectors like AI, cybersecurity, cloud innovation, data analytics, among others. It is just not skilling, honestly. It is workforce development with really measurable ROI. The last case that is very close to me and personal is my own journey, picking Jordan and Amman as the base for the new company, which is called Augentes AI, that we're just launching. So based on all of the above and the experiences that I've seen throughout the region, including partnerships and all of the innovations that I have seen firsthand, okay, I was driven by the deep belief, honestly, that the capabilities of the Jordanian talent and the thriving tech environment that Jordan is known for, it gives me great confidence to start my company here in Jordan. So at its core, this company, Augentes AI, delivers intelligent AI agents, which we call virtual workforces that can help organizations automate processes, enhance decision makings, and scale with speed and ethics. This is built on a scalable enterprise platform with embedded governance, of course. Our agents are already making an impact across banking, healthcare, and government. And the team that is building those are teams that have been educated in Jordan, skilled in Jordan, and right now working on these cutting edge AI innovations. So it's not just about building AI, honestly. It's about building it responsibly at scale and from a place that understands both innovation and resilience. So I want to say Augentes AI is born in Jordan but built for the world. Now, okay, let me bring it back to you, the UK tech leader who's watching this. You're scaling fast. You're exploring AI, cloud, compliance, customer success. But the talent race is honestly intense. We see it every day. Costs are rising and time to value is really shrinking. Jordan offers a clear answer: a skilled, stable talent pool, a friendly business environment, and a track record of partnering with global firms to deliver real outcomes. This is not about outsourcing. I believe this is about co-creating with a partner that shares your ambitions, understands your markets, and complements your capabilities. If you're building for scale and looking for talent maturity, ethical rigor, and execution speed, Jordan should be on your map. Finally, to close, let me leave you with this. Global recognition starts with intentional cooperation. I think Jordan has the infrastructure, it has the talent, it has the will. What it needs now are forward-looking partners, such as yourselves, ready to explore, invest, and build together. Honestly, I'm not pitching a promise. I'm showing a proof, and we're a good example of that proof, all three of us. And I hope today's conversation sparks your interest in becoming part of that powerful story of global growth grounded in local excellence. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maher. You've made my job extra easy. And I think that the way that you've touched on also females in the workplace, was this something that was intentional? Was there a quota to fill, or was there just enough qualified females that ended up in these positions?
I think it's twofold. I think there's a lot of value in diversity and inclusion. There's a lot of value to bring in the different perspectives into the workforce. But certainly, this has been proven on the ground with the quality of the resources that we have been looking at. I'll give you an example that I've seen firsthand in the past few weeks. My team was interviewing for one of the roles in my company, and we've interviewed almost 15 people, and either for whatever reason, the most qualified person was a female. So I mean, we could not even have somebody that matches her in the skills, whether it's soft skills, technical skills, but the sheer commitment and the value to learn.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for being such a wonderful representation of a truly global footprint. So thank you, Mahed. I understand that we are a bit short on time, but of course, I have to tell you a little bit about our incentives and how we really wish to be true partners for your business growth in Jordan. So through the Youth Technology and Jobs Program under the Ministry of Digital Economy, we have a number of incentives. That's apart from all of the tax incentives that you will be getting. Again, 0% import tax, 0% export tax, but we also have employment subsidies that can cover around 50% of new hires' salaries for Jordanian registered companies for the first 6 months. We do have a really big focus on education, as Maher mentioned. And I think that when you have a young population, you have the obligation to focus on education. And that's something that we're happy to look into partnerships in as well. As for Jordan Source, we're more than happy to be your help desk and to kind of like be with you step by step, from considering, evaluating the idea, connecting you with local partners, and to our speakers, of course. I know that we didn't get the chance to answer many questions, but our team will be reaching out to you, whether you've asked to be connected to any of our speakers, or if you have more questions for us, we'd love to hear from you, and we'll be getting back to you via email. And of course, for all of our updates, do check us out on social media. Thank you again to the team at London Tech Week for partnering with us on really bringing part of the Jordanian tech story to light. And thank you for your time. Thank you again to our speakers, and I hope you have a good afternoon.